I've been in the real estate business for over 15 years and I close over $10 million in sales every single year, and I have for more than a decade. And I'm still in production today in one of the toughest markets in the country, Denver. And if I had to start all over today from scratch in 2025, here's exactly how I'd rebuild my business step by step without wasting time or money on strategies that just don't work anymore. And we're going to start with the foundational systems. And yes, you absolutely do need systems to run a real estate business. Without it, you actually don't have a business. You just think you're an agent and you're trying to talk to people. But what happens is most people get stuck in this stage where you're in tech hell. You are talking to service providers, everything costs $100 plus a month, and you don't even know if you're going to use it. You're interviewing companies all the time. And what I can tell you is that you need to streamline this because you really only need a few things. We are fairly advanced on the real estate side with our advertising and our systems. And honestly, I basically use two systems to date. Now, those are going to start with your CRM. Okay. Now, there's a million different options out there. And without going through the weeds on all of them, you can either do a super cheapy, right? Like a Lion Desk or something like that. I think they're maybe 25 to $50 a month. And it's okay, right? To start your system. That's where I started. Names, phone numbers, emails. That is your business. Nothing else is your business. You're following on social media, doesn't matter. That can change any day. Your CRM is your business. Now, my best suggestions for today, if you want a system that has longevity, is going to be go high level. The features are advanced and you can do a whole lot with it. And this will come into play a little bit further down in these steps. But you can also do something like Lofty, much more expensive every single month. I think Go High Level is somewhere around $100. With Lofty, if you want their website and all that stuff too, upwards of $400 to $500 a month. And I know what you're saying right off the bat. Oh my God, I can't spend $400 or $500 a month. You're going to have to eventually, and so you can start small, starting with like a Go High Level at $100 a month, which is going to have 95% of all the features that you're going to want it to have, and it will last you a very long time. I actually use both. And what you want is something that you can, at a minimum, create landing pages with. Okay. It's not necessary for your CRM upfront to have text messaging capabilities, maybe not even email like bulk capabilities, but it does help because as you grow your list, you're going to need an email client very quickly. Once you get over a couple hundred people in your CRM, you don't want to end up in the spam folder. So these systems are going to help you do that. So number one today would be go high level. On a budget would be Lion Desk. And if you've got the pockets for it, go Lofty. Okay. Let's start there. Then Google Workspace. Okay. Emails, calendars, things like that. This is where everything's going to be kind of filtering through. Email is maybe my biggest tool that I use in my business. Yes, over the phone. Yes, over texting. Texting is a close second. But you're going to need at least a Google business email. Okay. Don't just get the, Susie real estate agent at gmail.com. Nope. Get the real email address, pay a few bucks a month. We're talking $7, $8, $9 a month. It'll have larger Google Drive capabilities, file storage, things like that. Calendar is going to be quite a bit better. Like just get the proper email and get one that has longevity to it. Alex at denverrealestate.com. Get something that's going to outlive what brokerage firm you're with, because that's probably going to change, to be honest with you. And then you're going to need a web domain. Okay. And we'll tie this all together a little bit, but that $10-15 a year. Don't overthink this. Nobody cares. You just need a web domain to be able to host landing pages and a very simple website. Don't overthink this. No one cares about the name of your website. It's not worth spending more than 5 minutes on, to be honest with you. Okay. And then you're going to want to, of course, have the ability again to do landing pages. So you can set up things like searches, pages for people to enter their information and stuff like that. We'll pull this all together. Now, most agents get stuck on this first step. It can be really daunting. It can be full of tech nightmares. And yes, it's the foundation of your business. But this first part makes you zero money. But before you can capitalize on making money, you're going to need to figure out who your ideal client is. Now, this actually took me a really long time to figure out and how to dial it in for myself. And actually, my clients are the ones who gave me the feedback loop enough to know, oh, this is actually who tends to work with me the most. And if I would have opened my eyes a little bit more, done a little bit more work up front, I could have figured it out. Now, my business is mixed up into about 70% listings and about 30% buyers. I do a lot of flips as well. So naturally, I talk to more sellers with how my advertising is geared. My strengths are construction. I have a construction background. Sales in general, I'm okay with building rapport with people. I'd say that's a pretty big strength of mine. And then I can relate to people that own businesses, that are engineers, that are doctors, lawyers, very analytically minded people. And so I have decided to lean into that more. And that's how all of my marketing, all of my social media, everything comes across. Because with who you know, who you're going to work with, you can help identify your unique proposition. Because I mean, to be fair, there's over a million agents in the country. I think there's 4 million agents in the entire US. In Denver alone, with a population of about 4 million people in the entire metro area, there's over 40,000 real estate agents. I mean, that's 1% of the population here is a real estate agent. Everybody knows an agent, their brother. The barrier of entry is so low, a couple grand, few weeks to get your license, that it's very easy to get your license. And so, everybody knows a good 6 or 7 agents. It's just kind of the reality. So, how do you stand out from the crowd? Well, I have a unique sales proposition. And with my sellers, it is that I can provide services to help fix up your home with my team, and my partner is a licensed general contractor. We will fund the rehab. We will work to get you as much money as humanly possible for your house. And with our background in flipping properties, it translates to sellers really, really easily. And so it builds a lot more trust. And not to mention, when they're talking to 10 different agents, I can say something like that and it gets my foot in the door. And I close one out of every 2.6 meetings that I have with sellers because we offer something that not many other people can. And in a way that's going to net the seller the most amount of money. And I can say that confidently. Now, with buyers, my unique proposition is that I'm all about the numbers, right? It's my job as an agent to take an emotional thing and apply logic to it to help you make the best decision for you and your families. And so, what I want you to do is write down who your ideal client is. Use Chat GPT to help you ask you questions. And I want it to be, hey, my ideal seller, right, is someone who might be behind on their payments. Their house needs a lot of work. It has owned their home for more than 20 years and likely is selling between 500 to $800,000 ideally, and they are moving into a retirement facility. Okay. I want it to be specific for you. On the buy side, you're going to do the same thing. My profile buyer is one of two scenarios. The second one just came up recently. It's a young couple that he likely plays golf. He likely runs his own business or is an entrepreneur. And she is a full time employed person. They have one kid, maybe a second on their way, and they're moving up into their move up home. That's my ideal buyer. Like very specific, ladies and gentlemen. The more specific you make it, the better all of your marketing is going to be. So now you know what systems you need to put in, who you should be talking to, and who you should be catering to. So, how do you actually talk to these people? Number three, generating leads. It is the lifeblood of your business. So, how are you going to do this? This is where the majority of your time is going to be spent. If I had to be honest with you, I would say that 80% of this job is figuring out how to get people to even work with you. 20% of it is the actual job. It's a little skewed. As you get better, it might turn into 50-50, but anything more than 50-50 split between lead gen and working with your current clients is pretty rare. I would say even doing north of 30 deals a year. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. So you can fumble at everything else. You can have no systems in place. You can have no idea who your ideal client is. You can know nothing else about follow up or anything. But if you're consistently talking to people, you will accidentally close deals. You just got to show up. Okay. So there's going to be two ways to go about this: the free, low cost method and the paid method, right? And you should do both your entire business until you graduate to a certain point, and then you will likely only be doing paid advertising. Okay. This is a business. Every business spends money on advertising. Okay. So there is a cost for all this stuff, even the free stuff, because your time is worth something and you have to have phone dialers. But if I were going to restart today and I had zero book of business, zero opportunity to make any dollars until I started talking to people, I would do the following things. I would start cold calling, right? And this is a 4 hour a day journey of lead gen. In the beginning, it might be more like six. Okay. I would be cold calling targeted neighborhoods. I would sign up for services like RedX. And I would call expired listings. I would call for sale by owners. I would call people who have owned the properties for more than 5 years. And I would just start talking to people. If you want someone amazing to follow on cold calling methods, follow Ricky Caruth. Just look him up. And he is the man when it comes to cold calling. Follow his exact system because I've taken some of these methods straight from Ricky Caruth, and his simple method is amazing and it works, and it leaves you not feeling like you have to be super salesy on the phone. You're just asking permission. You're wanting to keep people up to date on the market, and that's it. And when it's time for them to sell or buy, you are the one that they think of. Okay. I would also be sending out direct messages, DMs through social media. I would go the Alex Hermosi style, and I would be trying to contact and connect with 100 people a day. Okay. 100 people is your target every single day for the first several years in this business. That will grow your business. I would do 100 DMs a day. I would put 100 comments on social media posts not related to real estate. Just, hey, I saw your kid had a birthday. That's awesome. Da, 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 da. I am not a person to reach out to my friends and family and say, hey, I've just got my real estate license. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell a house? Dude, why the hell should they trust you? Work with strangers. They don't know your backstory. Okay. All right. I would do cold texts, strategic cold texts to people you haven't talked to in a while. And this isn't, again, about real estate. This is just, dude, what's going on? You're going to have to create more relationships. This is that business. If you're not good with having a few hundred relationships, constantly messaging you, checking in, see how things are going, real estate isn't your jam. Just keep moving on. Your job is to let people know what you do in the least salesy way possible, right? And then you should do open houses, as many as you can, 2, 3, 4 a week. Do them all. Find out, reach out to listing agents in your area that you want to be a part of, and do open houses. Start looking at houses. Look at every house in your neighborhood for sale. So that way, when you do talk to somebody, you know about the inventory that's out there. Okay. Then the paid part of it. This is where you can pour gas on it. This is where most agents have resistance to it because, frankly, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what results should be. In any advertising, if you're doing more than 700% ROI on your ad spend, that's a good number. 1,000% is even better. That's where we hit consistently in our business, advertising to motivated sellers. Okay. So that means for every $1,000 we spent, we make $10,000 in commissions. This is the majority of advertising that we do. We spend thousands of dollars a month for us and our agents, and we create deals. Now, you got to know your numbers, and you got to know your ad spend. You got to know how to advertise, and this is going to be a long road. But if you want to accelerate your learning on this, just get on my weekly email list below. I'll show you exactly what we're doing to generate motivated seller leads through paid ads. And it's actually pretty simple overall. But you can do the same thing for buyers, and that's a totally different ball of wax. You're going after people with more like a 6 to 18 month deal cycle instead of people with 1 to 3 months from contact to close. So it's a little bit different, but both build businesses well. And in the beginning, I think you should do both. And I think you should spend 25 to 50 bucks a day, maybe a little bit less at the beginning, just to kind of get your feet wet. But you should write down what your goals are on ad spend and how many deals you want to write per X amount of dollars. And like I said, 700% is a good target. 1,000% of ad spend to commissions is amazing. And that is a business that is scalable. If I told you for every $1,000 you spent, you would make $10,000, most of you would hand over a $10,000 check right now, right? That's how we are. But you got to do it right at certain times a year and you got to manage it appropriately. Now, once you do start actually talking with people, every one of them is going to need to be followed up with. The gold is in the follow up. It's as true of a statement in real estate as you can have. So, how do you automatically, without getting overwhelmed, follow up with everybody that you're talking with? Well, here we are back to our systems that we set up in step number one. So, step number four is going to be sure to have automated follow up systems in place. Now, it can be as simple as one weekly value email. Okay. I don't know how many agents I talk to that don't have a weekly email, and 100% of you should. You literally have no excuses. And I hear things all the time like, oh, email doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I got 6,000 people on my weekly email and 20 to 30% open rates. You're telling me getting in front of 1 to 2,000 people a week, even if all they see is my name, isn't worth it? You're lying to yourself. It's the same thing as a billboard, okay? Except it's fairly inexpensive, if not free, to set this up and to keep it going. And it gives you an opportunity to put something together that isn't just picking up the phone and calling more people, right? It's not the grind. It's putting some value together. It's keeping yourself educated about your own market and then putting that in a valuable weekly email that you send out to your clients on the same day every single week. This is stolen from Ricky Caruth, not stolen, borrowed. And it's the one thing that grew his business to over $1 million in GCI every single year. And I believe him. You know why? Because I've talked to him and the dude's legit. So he would cold call, he would get people on his weekly email list, and he would send the weekly email. And that's all he did. So this whole you got to call people 100 times, buy or die, blah, 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 just provide value and the business will follow. Okay. You should also have drip campaigns set up through your CRMs to follow up with people who potentially reach out to you, especially new leads. Leads need to be reached out to immediately. So you should have the ability when someone fills out their information to instantly reach out to them within 30 seconds with a phone call, a text message, or an email, and possibly all through. And then another follow up in a couple of minutes from now, and then a follow up tonight, tomorrow morning, and aggressively for the first week, and then trail it off from there. Okay. So drip campaigns are very, very important. Most agents, again, get caught up in this. All they need to know is that you're still there. Forget the content and overthinking it. Do your weekly email, and then the drip system setups are super easy. I can put one together that lasts a year or two in 20 to 30 minutes. And it's a mix of some automated text messages, some automated emails, and then occasional calls that I would make to them. And I create a task for myself through my CRM. That's it. Strategic texts check in occasionally. People don't want to talk on the phone, the majority of them, but they'll look at a text message. I get a way higher response rate through text than I do through phone calls. And don't just send them garbagey text messages. Send them real text messages like you would to a family member, right? Look at what text you send to your mother and make text messages similar. Be personable, be real, and people will be attracted to work with you. And on that note, I am not an aggressive follow upper. Okay. If a lead reaches out to me, they fill out information. Even if I spend 50 bucks plus on that lead, I'm not calling them 14 times a day until they pick up the damn phone. I'm just not. I'm calling them a couple of times because they have my information. And if they want to reach out to me, they have the method to do so. So I just keep going forward and I try to find people that want to work with me instead of just grinding it out constantly following up with people who didn't answer the phone the first 10 times. Just my take. Now, following up is great and all, but you need to look bigger than life to position yourself as the go to person in your industry. That's why you need this next step. You do need a brand. I have talked to many agents who have been in the business for 10 years that they really don't have anything built up for their own brand. And I know it's real catchy and, the phrase out there, how do you build a brand? All it is what do people think of when they think of you? If I had to categorize my brand, it would be market stats and a deep understanding of the analytical part to what real estate is doing. I am not the, a listing god who, shows the coolest, most fanciest luxury houses in Denver. Not that guy. I'm not the horse property branding agent who just shows you these amazing countryside landscapes. I fix problems really, really well. And I understand the housing market in your neighborhood better than anybody else you can talk to. That's my brand. I try to be straightforward advice, just like I'm talking to you. It's exactly how I talk to my clients. I don't hold back. I tell you the truth. And I do that over what I think your feelings are. Uh, I don't get caught up in that stuff. So how do you build a personal brand? Well, you need to figure out your strengths, right? Just like I said, find out what your strengths are. If that is working with buyers and being an amazing negotiator, if you're a shark, go for it. Build your brand around that. If your systems in place are better than anybody else and you got this big team behind you and you are not going to miss a beat, build your brand around that. And you're going to need to make video content. You're going to hate me for saying that, but you need to get in front of the camera, darn it. You talk to people all day. Just turn the camera on, right? When you go do open houses, turn the camera on. When you go do showings, turn the camera on and record what it is that you're doing. And this will get weaved into your follow up on my weekly email almost every single week. I have a link to a video and people watch it, right? I will be talking to somebody for a year and a half, 2 years, and then someday they just go, "Oh yeah, actually, the reason why I reached out, I saw your video a year ago, and I got on your email list, and blah blah blah." Blah. I'm like, "Oh, that's how you know me." And they've followed you and they've watched you for 5, 10, 20 hours. They feel like they know you, and they've only talked to you once or twice. The importance of this is is next to nothing. Like, you need the systems in place potentially first, but this might be one of the second best things you can do to build yourself up as an agent, because this will supersede everything else. I think you have to have this. If you don't, you are going to be phased out. Now, I'm going to caution you not to go too far down that rabbit hole on social media, video content, because it is deep. And I know I've fallen into that trap myself. But what really helps is on a number 6 here is absolutely being ruthless with your time. So here's your daily schedule, okay? There's lots of ways you can do this, but a bad plan is better than no plan. So here's what you need to do day after day. This is it. You can follow lots of fancy schedules if you want. This is what's worked for me, and hopefully it can work for you too. It's very, very simple. So you need to be ruthless with your time allocation. You should time block from 7 to 9 a.m. is current clients. That's all I deal with. I deal with people under contract, people currently looking at homes, listings that are about to happen, and I get my poop in a group and I make sure everything is there, because this is your next paycheck, is your current clients. A lot of teams and other agents and brokerages will say lead prospecting is your most important. That's a load of malarkey, because your next paychecks are not guaranteed until you close a deal, and your current clients are your next closest paycheck. Okay. Then from 9 to 1, prospecting minimum 4 hours a day for 5 days a week. 6 days is better, and 6 hours a day, especially at the beginning, is even better. Cold outreach, cold calling, follow ups, new conversations. That's what you're focusing on. Okay. Then for the rest of the time, that's where you can work on showings if you have clients, or just looking at properties and neighborhoods that you want to work in a lot to understand the product a bit better. You go on listing appointments. Then you can do content creation, business development, work on your business during this time slot. That's it. Every single day, forever. Now, this will adjust and change as you get more clients. You got 8 to 10 clients at a time. I'm not doing nearly as much prospecting, right? I might do 1 hour of prospecting a day. That's just how it is. So if you follow those steps, step by step, making it as simple as you can with focusing on talking to people, you are going to be successful. But there are some things that you can do to pour the gas on to how quickly you have success. And first things first, I would say team consideration. Find a good team. A team is going to care about you, where a brokerage firm, probably not. You're just more of a number. But you can expect to give up 50% of your paydays. Okay. But on the other hand, they're going to provide training. They're probably going to provide some systems for you. And it's a great place to see how people are actually running their real estate business. Brokerages. No one cares about what brokerage you're in. No one cares if you're in Berkshire Hathaway or Keller Williams Elite or, Engel and Volklers. It doesn't matter. No one cares. No, not a single client has been like, "Oh, I've never heard of your brokerage firm before." Like, okay, they care about you. They care about your personality. They trust you. They like you. They know you. They will work with you. Okay. And then reinvesting. This one falls so short with even agents who have been in this business a long time because they see getting deals as expensive. I would say reinvest 15% of your paychecks into paid ads and get really good at doing that, because I think that's the only way you can long term scale up your business. I mean, we're at month 6 of 2025 so far. My deal board is looking pretty darn full. I've got almost 20 deals under my belt for this year so far, and 90% of them have come from paid ads. Right, I've hit that point in my business where I would rather spend $50 to $100 a day and only talk with a couple of people a day, set a couple meetings a week, close one deal every other week. I'm great with that. Right, that is my business, because I don't want to call for 4 hours a day. I just don't. So once you get some traction, figure out how to pour the gas on that and figure out how to advertise properly. And again, if you just want to see what we're doing, just click on the link below, get on my weekly email. We'll show you everything that we're currently doing to get motivated sellers to reach out to us. Now, this would be my formula if I had to start all over from scratch, but there's so many more things that I wish I would have known when I started my real estate business. That's why I put together this video. And if you watch it, it'll save you years of learning.